See where I put things I create at. Not for the Weaker Sex by David J. Rowbottom. Volume 8. How Married Life Compares with Being Single. The TV Remote Control. Guess where the TV remote control is when I'm single? First of all, I'll tell you where it isn't. It isn't down the back of the couch. It isn't in the kitchen. It isn't in her dressing gown pocket. It isn't in the bathroom. It isn't, rather astonishingly, in the driver's door pocket of her Ford Fiesta. It was exactly where I fucking left it, the dishwasher. The ridiculously expensive item, which we simply had to have during our kitchen refurbishment because no one would buy a house without the dishwasher, lies dormant. I have to invite people around for meals just so I have enough plates, dishes and cutlery to warrant occasionally firing it up to prevent rust damage. I know what you're thinking. Just fill it up slowly and do a big wash once a week. I've tried this, believe me. I understand how logical this seems, and before experiencing this for myself, I would have agreed. I get the fact that dishwashers do all the work. I know how easy they are. I know that they are fabulous for large families. Remember, I married the poster child for dishwashers. There's one hitch, though. I like certain knives and forks and utensils and pots and pans, and I want to use them every day. My bone-handled knife, the small pan, my big plastic spoon that drains away baked bean juice perfectly, my favorite dish. Plus, it's just easier to wash these things by hand. Just wash them when you use them. But I don't need to tell you. You're probably reading this at 10 p.m. while eating cereal with your favorite spoon, out of your favorite dish while the plate and knife from your lunchtime sandwich dry streak-free on the draining board. Washing clothes. She did the washing. My job was hanging the clothes up to dry either on the line or on the drying maiden, and then ironing and folding them and putting them away. Seemed reasonable. It did to me at the time. I didn't give it much thought, to be honest. She stated early on in our marriage that she hated ironing and wasn't prepared to do my shirts. I get that. I'm a modern man and can iron my own shirts. To be fair to my ex-wife, she did buy a dry buddy for me one drunken night at Welfare Teleshopping Channel. I think it was £70. If you're not familiar with the dry buddy, it's a large clothes rack that has something akin to a hot air balloon over it. A timed heater at the bottom of the rack inflates the balloon over as many as 18 damp garments and spends the day spinning your electric meter so fast that it looks still if you stare very hard at it. When you return from work, earning in your shift just enough money to pay for the day of dry buddying, you unzip the balloon to find 18 lovely dry and fluffy garments. Writer's note. Please note the covered diameter bears no similarity to the uncovered diameter. Very annoying. I mean, it works, no issue there. I think it would be cheaper, however, to employ a high-class prostitute to drive around town in her MX-5 with its top down, while wearing each of the 18 garments individually. Until the recent invention of the washing machine, I would have considered the "I'll do the washing if you do the drying and putting away" deal a fair one. The woman would carry a basket of dirty laundry down to the riverbank, armed with some soap made up of animal fat and plant ash, and bash, rub, squeeze and wring each item until clean. It wasn't until I became single that I realized I had been handed the very raw end of this particular deal. Here's what I failed to realize. The clue is in the name. The washing machine does all the work. The first washing machine of sorts was invented in 1797. The first electric one in 1907. I'm sure that these were both cumbersome and, let's face it, rubbish. The housewife of the 1950s had it much easier. Washing machine design improved, as did the components. This made them easier to mass produce and therefore more readily available. The washing machines of today are bloody brilliant. They do everything for you, to the point where you can find yourself aggrieved at the prospect of having to lift the laundry in and out of the drum. My ex-wife knew this. I did not. I do my own laundry now, and this means I'm fully aware of how long it takes to do the washing. Bring down laundry basket 30 seconds. Open washing machine door 5 seconds. Place a detergent tab at bottom of drum 5 seconds. Put dirty laundry in drum 1 minute. Close washing machine door 5 seconds. Open softener drawer and pour some in 20 seconds. Set desired program 10 seconds. Push start button trace. Walk away and have a poo/wank/cup of tea, lie down. Wait for the beep 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 of program completion. Place damp clothes in washing basket 30 seconds. Grand total, not including waiting time, 2 minutes 45 seconds. I'm also fully aware of how long it takes to hang up, to dry, fold and iron. The following list is based on a typical British wet day. It also assumes that the dry buddy is 10 feet in diameter and can accommodate 1,000 hung items. Take damp clothes upstairs 10 seconds. Put up drying maiden 3 hours. Erect dry buddy frame, writer's note. You now only use it as a garment rack because your overtime dried up and you can no longer afford to turn it on. 5 minutes. Hang socks. Writer's note in pairs because it makes it easier later. On bottom part of maiden 10 minutes. Hang boxers, bras and knickers on middle part of the maiden 5 minutes. Hang towels and t-shirts on top part of maiden 5 minutes. Put own shirts and hoodies on hangers and dangle off the dry buddy 10 minutes. Hang trousers and jeans on those awkward trouser hangers that have a clip at each end on the dry buddy, a day. Put her special work shirts, normal shirts, cardigans that need stretching while still damp so they don't lose their shape. Woolen jumpers and delicate dresses on hangers and dangle off the dry buddy. A month. Then you have to leave and do a long day's work and remember to feel them when you get home. They're still damp, of course. You then get told off because you haven't learned how to bend time and increase the drying speed of damp wool, as she needs that jumper for tomorrow. Leave again and do a longer day's work. Pair up the socks and put them into 2 different drawers 5 minutes. Fold up your boxers and shove them in your drawer 3 minutes. Carefully fold up the bras in a particular way that means the cups don't sag and put them away 5 minutes. Writer's note, if you're being watched. Or 30 seconds if you just grab them in a big ball and ram them into the bra drawer. Fold up knickers and shove them in her drawer 6 minutes. Fold up the towels and place them in the towel cupboard 3 minutes. Hang up anything that already looks ironed and could pass the "has this been ironed" check 3 minutes. Writer's note, some things seem to dry crease-free, bless them. Break down the drying maiden 15 seconds and 1 finger. Walk downstairs with the fully laden dry buddy 1 minute. Writer's note, this is your own fault. You know it would be quicker to do 2 trips, but you absolutely refuse. Erect the ironing board 1 minute and a 2nd finger. Fill the iron up with water and plug it in 30 seconds. Iron-fitted shirts, thin shirts, thick shirts, t-shirts, heavily creased jeans, delicate little dresses and work trousers, 2 hours while watching the world at war. Put away the ironing board 1 minute and a hand. Put the iron back in the cupboard before it is cooled properly 30 seconds. Walk upstairs with the fully laden dry buddy 2 minutes. Writer's note, see above but harder. Put your own shirts in your side of the wardrobe 1 minute. Check the Excel spreadsheet she designed to ensure you put her clothes away in the correct manner and in the right order half an hour. Put her clothes away in the exact specified way apart from 1 random blue shirt in the red section 10 minutes. Fold down the dry buddy 10 seconds. WB, finally something it does efficiently. Grand total, not including 2 full working days. 7 long and painful years. The cat. So I ended up with the cat. I never really built a relationship with the thing, but now it's just me and her alone in the house. The first couple of days are odd. We pass occasionally on the landing. I feel awkward when our eyes meet, and I'm convinced she feels the same. I spend hours on the internet searching cat behavior in an effort to establish whether the tail flick is friendly or a signal that any moment now she will be clinging to my face like the alien in the film, Alien. I read with glee that if she walks towards me with her tail raised, it's her way of saying, "Good morning. How are you today, old chap?" I wonder how my life will be now with just me and her. Feeding. How often does one feed a cat There was previously an odd aspect to my relationship with this most enigmatic of creatures. She didn't really want to be near me and rarely showed me any affection. It was almost as though I'd married her. For weeks after my wife left, I found myself nodding the occasional greeting at this beast and only really having any kind of contact at mealtimes. When I say mealtimes, it gives the impression that I had a set time on the clock when I fed her. This is not true. As far as my logical brain could make out, she was an adult cat and more than capable of letting me know when she was peckish and in need of sustenance. "Mao," she'd say. "Mo?" this time, as if asking a question. "Mao," she demanded. I assumed she knew her own mind, and I'd rise from my chair like an automaton and feed her. Then I got a letter that reminded me that she was due her booster jabs at the vet's. I had never been involved in this process before and was unsure of the procedure. "Just bring her in with any paperwork you can find and we'll work from there," said the nice lady receptionist. "And if I can't locate any paperwork?" I asked, hoping she'd say that this wasn't a problem, as there was a free program for neglectful owners. "Well," she said, "we'll have to start the whole thing again from scratch. It's a £300 course." I spent the next 24 hours pleading with a ball of white and ginger fur to tell me where ex-mummy hid the paperwork. I finally found it in a drawer underneath the instructions for a dishwasher and a dry buddy. And so off to the vet's we went. A seemingly simple sentence with one tiny flaw. She didn't want to go. And then I made the greatest catching error imaginable. I got the cat carrier out of the garage and placed it on the floor in the living room, and then went to lock the cat flap. This, I found out the hard way, is the wrong order in which to do this. A day later, and following an embarrassing telephone call to the vet telling them I'd lost the cat, I reversed the order and only had to spend 20 minutes coaxing her from under the bed with a cordless vacuum cleaner. Writer's note. These work wonders, although I assume they scare your cat quite a lot. I squoze her into the tiny basket, removed my motorcycle gloves, and we were on our way. I placed the cat box on the passenger seat so I could explain what was going on. A simple booster shot and nothing to worry about. It wasn't the vet telling me, or the fact that I had to squeeze the cat into the basket head first like a duvet into a washing machine, but the plop sound she made when she eventually fell onto the vet's table that made me realize that she was eating enough food to satisfy the appetite of a Bengal tiger. "She's a little overweight," commented the vet as I held the basket entrance pointing down over the table. "How overweight?" I asked, hoping that she was naturally fluffy. "Well, we should be able to remove her from the basket, so quite a lot." I looked at the cat. The cat stared back at me with a look that signified she knew full well the gravy train was over. "I thought it was a small basket," I said glumly. The vet pointed at the moulded writing on the side of the box saying XL and shook her head. The cat accepted the necessary jabs very well, and I was quite proud. Once home, I opened the basket door and watched as she maneuvered herself through the tiny opening and lay down on the couch for a rest. Diet time. She was not happy. I can only liken her attitude to the new one-pouch-a-day rule, to that of a teenager who has been allotted a certain amount of Wi-Fi access per day. A teenager would repeatedly harumph and say things like, "WTF?" The cat said, "Meow. Meow, 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 meow." I gave in after the 20-second meow. Life's too short. Her food requirement technique is flawless and spectacular and should be admired. In the morning, it consists of finding a plastic shopping bag from somewhere and gently picking at it until the distant sound of this simple task wakes me from my slumber and becomes as intolerable as sitting me down in front of an episode of Dancing on Ice, with my testicles in a vice that tightens each time I say, "But I just don't see the point." I get up whether it's 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I have to get up. I have no choice. This excites her and she waddles down the stairs as quickly as her podgy 2 pouches a day belly will allow. I take advantage of this, and instead of following her down the stairs and into the kitchen, I plod along the landing to the toilet and enjoy my morning poo and ablutions at my leisure, safe in the knowledge that any annoying squeaks and squeals she's making downstairs will be drowned out by bathroom noises. I eventually saunter down and find a ball of frustration sitting by her bowl in the kitchen, staring up at me with a look of hate and total desperation. "Mal," she says timidly, "I got a little power back." I can now take advantage of this and enjoy a moment of cuddly love. I can do just about anything I want to her while she is over the threshold of the kitchen door. She allows this because she remembers that day, that fateful day. It was the third day of the month of falling leaves in the year of being left in the house alone, with he who doesn't know how to feed me. That was the morning she scratched me as I tried to stroke her. I left the house. All day. She went hungry. She learned a valuable lesson. So now, I can pretty much get all the loving off her I need so long as she is in the kitchen. Sometimes I shut the door so she can't leave. Sometimes I'm a bit of a softy. She has, however, learned a clever countermeasure. As I stand in my black trousers and serve my white cat her food, she has taken to showing her love for me by weaving in and out of my legs. At first this made me happy, as I genuinely believed that she loved me. That was until I looked down at my lower leg and saw what at first glance appeared to be white, 1980s styled, leg warmers. She'd taken some power back. I now, while filling her bowl, have to do a dance where I alternate standing on one leg while I flail the other around in a bid to shake off her advances. I'm glad there's no one watching. No one other than her, that is. She has all her power back. She also has an afternoon system for the acquisition of food. This she must plan thoroughly during the course of the day, making it much more elaborate and efficient. Sometimes, after a hard day at work, I just want to sit down for 5 minutes when I get in. That is not acceptable in the cat world. That's putting me first. The byproduct of putting me first is putting her second. That simply will not be tolerated. She allows me to come in and take off my coat. I'm allowed to put down my bag. I'm even allowed to go and change into some comfier clothes. However, as soon as my backside makes contact with my lovely comfy chair, she starts. "Moo! Oh, that was quite cute, really. Moo! A tad annoying. Meow! Blimey, that was loud. Now! Hang on. Did she shout meow or now? Hello? What? Did she just say hello? Of course she didn't. She's a cat. MLK, meow. Milk now. She didn't just say milk now. Purr, please, I begged her. I've just got home. Can I not be allowed a moment to sit and reflect calmly? No. Right, I say. That's it. I mean, really, young lady. Is this any way to behave? I've been out all day slaving away to bring home money. Money which, can I just say, goes into buying you the finest offal-based food. You get ocean fish flavor, trout, poultry. Okay, that one's a bit vague, I'll give you that. Salmon. You get salmon. Rabbit, lamb. I mean, where in the wild are you going to stalk, bring down and eat a lamb? But no, you still get it. All in a wonderful gravy, I might add. Or jelly. I know you like the jelly. It's funny how they don't make mouse flavor, though, isn't it? Or sparrow. New moth-flavored cat food, I'd buy it, because I know how you like moths. You could have spider fillet in a blue bottle sauce. Remember when you, rather amazingly, caught that blue bottle in your paw? You took one lick and then dropped it, writhing in pain on the windowsill. Thanks for that. That was a lovely moment for me, having to pick it up in kitchen roll and squish it between my thumb and forefinger. You get all this terrific food, and I'm eating eggs mashed up in a cup. I have to say, though, that none of your food looks or smells any different. The tuna looks and smells exactly like the beef. I suspect we're both being conned. I wonder if they actually taste different. I wonder... Don't look at me like that. I wasn't really going to try it. Okay, here's your food. All mashed up just as you like it. What's that you say? Miss Okay. Milk? Okay, my lady, please be patient. You know this cat milk costs more per litre than diesel? There, are you happy now? Can I finally go and have a 5-minute sit down, please? After chomping down her meal, she disappears into a different part of the house, not to be seen again until the next morning, when she is armed once again with a plastic carrier bag. And the merry dance begins once again. Games. Slowly, our relationship grew. We designed games to play together. Neither of us formulated rules, they just grew as we played. She made a few rules up, as did I. For example, when I lay on the floor near the hall, she knew it was playtime. She hid just inside the kitchen door, so I could see the merest hint of an ear. Then I'd get a table tennis ball and roll it toward her. When the ball arrived at the kitchen door, and assuming it arrived no more than 6 inches away from the opening, her arm would shoot out and pad the ball back to me. We'd then both wait patiently until it ever so slowly trickled back to me, and we'd go again. 27 times was the record. Sometimes, when I believed she arbitrarily deserved a treat, I'd go to her cupboard, and in a slightly dramatic way as to make it clear to her wherever she was in the house, I'd over-crinkle the packet of some tasty, crunchy on the outside yet chewy in the middle biscuits. Then when I knew I had her attention, I'd lie on the kitchen floor near the door and scratch a treat on the laminate of the hallway. An ear would appear, and the game was on. Her head would go low, her eyes black. I'd pretend to throw, but no, she doesn't fall for that sort of nonsense. She'd seen this game before and knew all the tricks I'd play. Each time I'd pretend to throw a treat, her body would sink deeper into the floor, so deep that by the time neither of us can take the tension any further, she'd look like spilled paint. Then I'd throw and she'd pounce. The first one would usually get past her, so she'd run to collect her booty. She'd pick it up with her paw and watch me carefully as she ate it. 1-0 to me, I'd say, and she would retake her position with a steely determination. She dives and saves the second sliding treat. 1-1. This has become a penalty shootout. There could be only one winner. I knew it. She knew it. For a while, when the game was new, I thought I was going easy on her, letting her catch a few simple throws. I then realized that she was getting really rather good at the game. That's when I started to try really hard to beat her. No quarter given or asked. I knew she couldn't count. I mean, she's a cat. It was, however, amazing how many times she'd lose interest and walk away just after she has taken the lead. And then, writer's note. Please take note of the awful red lampshade in the background. It was an unsanctioned purchase by my ex-wife, something she did all the time. To the left and out of shot is another one exactly the same but pink. Horrible. I innocently bought a white bath mat once and was attacked for not discussing it first. I was told it didn't match. We had a white bathroom. I can't type anymore because I want to scratch my own eyes out. Guess what happened? One day, with no warning, and for no reason, I felt a presence beside me. She was on the arm of the chair. She looked at me. I looked back. She looked at my lap. I couldn't believe it. She took a tentative step with one foot as though testing the temperature of water. I froze. She put the other leg onto me. It was like she was about to walk a tightrope. She stayed like this for a little while before bringing the third leg into play. Then the fourth. She walked in 2 very edgy circles and lay down on me like a big furry prawn. Head to tail, I touched her head. She purred. I scratched her ear. She moved her head in an effort to get me to scratch a particular point. Her tail flicked. I couldn't reach the laptop to research this behavior, so had no clue what this meant. I sat like this for an hour. I didn't move a muscle. I left my hand on her back and nothing moved. Then I cleared my throat as silently as I possibly could, and she leapt up and ran away. Cat skull scratch. We became much better at it, though, over time. We started to like each other. She even allowed me to do the cat skull scratch. If you're not familiar with the cat skull scratch, it's a rather fun but scary way to entertain yourself. She'd jump onto the arm of the chair and slowly but tentatively lie down in that strange way that cats do. You know, where the front legs completely disappear from view. Just as she'd do this, I'd scratch her skull quite violently. She would immediately sit upright, close her eyes ever so slightly, and look up at the ceiling. She'd enjoy this glorious feeling that only domesticated cats can possibly have experienced for about a minute, and then shake her head, as if she had just realized we are enjoying a moment of unbridled love and it must stop immediately. I'd quickly move my hand into a passive position, so she would have to actively move toward me if she wished to inflict the pain on me that she so desperately wanted to. She would then slowly and tentatively lie back down and retuck her legs under her body. The moment she settled, I'd once again scratch her skull quite violently and she'd sit upright, close her eyes ever so slightly, and look up at the ceiling. This would go on for some time. It was good fun. But it was a real effort to get to this point. For both of us. She's next to me now as I write, watching. The other day while I was writing, I popped to the loo for a wee. This is what I found when I got back. I politely asked her what she thought she was doing. My mouse fell to the floor about 3 seconds later. The battery compartment fell off. The batteries fell out. One rolled under a cupboard. The S key came away as I lifted her off the keyboard because she'd dug her claws in. I didn't see her again all night. Scratching posts. She was an obedient and regular user of scratching posts and could easily bring them to the edge of destruction in a very short time frame. The other day, I noticed that her current scratching post was a little worse for wear and decided to kindly replace it with a brand new one. My mum has a lovely beige one with a large furry brown base shaped like a giant animal paw. I have always coveted this as I think it would be fun, during a snowfall, to pop outside in the early morning light and make giant footprints in the snow. I searched high and low for the same one as my mum has without success. I offered her money for it without success. I finally capitulated and bought the same boring one as before. When I got home, I unboxed the new post with a touch of razzmatazz lost on my cat and presented it to her. She obediently walked up to it and did that long, stretchy scratch that they do and moved on. I shrugged, admired the new post one more time, and then went to the wheelie bin with the old one. It was then that I was struck with a thought. I imagined how I would feel if, after months of trying to get all the rope off the cardboard tube, I came home one day to find that all my hard work had been repaired and I was back at square one with a brand new scratching post again. I decided there and then that I would never again throw out an old scratching post until it was absolutely stripped bare. Eventually I owned 14 scratching posts, all in different states. I have inserted a picture of one of the more advanced efforts below. Writer's note, my friend Zappa. October 2nd, 2022, Rip You Moody, Contrary Little Furball. See where I put things I create at.